lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-583-0141. That's 800-583-0141.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white, and blue.
My next guest.
And when the band plays, hey,
I love the fact that I have had the pleasure of knowing my next guest for a long time. And I think about when we were younger and the effort we put forward in making money honestly and working and studying and paying attention to fundamentals and economics, when both of us would have been so much better off opening up a senior care facility in California or Minnesota. We'd be driving much better cars, but my next guest wouldn't be half as smart, because when it comes to smarts, if it has anything to do with technical trade, cash equities, commodities, or financial products, there's only one guy, Scott the Cow Guy Shellady. How are you, sexy?
Good afternoon, sir. Great to be on. Thank you.
Did you see the Chinaman who had the birthing mill fraud set up in California, had the scams for healthcare? He was driving a Pagani, the $2.5 million. A Pagani. Listen to this. You got to see the video. It's a Pagani, but it's chromed out with the Targa top, and he gets in. Everything is legal. Slams the door of the $2.5 million Pagani and starts it up. I mean, the money that was stolen from 2009 forward, I believe out of the $30 trillion that's been added to the debt through these morons, Obama and Biden alone, I think 80% of it is stolen. 80% gone in the wind. What do you think?
Well, I mean, Scott Bessent has said that he believes that we would make a significant, drawdown on our debt if we would just get on top of all the fraud. I mean, if you think about what's happening in just two states, in Minnesota and California, you take that out to the rest of the country, I guarantee you we've been getting ripped off blind. I mean, I feel like I'm staring at some dodgy corners of some of the pits I used to trade in.
And the funny thing is, too, when you like you make your money the way we did, right? There's nowhere to go. 50% of it in taxes between the feds and the state. You're living on 50%. And then you look at all the guys listening to the show right now, right? Driving home from their fracking jobs. Everybody's stressed out about money. And you've got an entire section of our society. They don't give a rip. Inflation, smation. They don't care one way or the next. They're either getting their rent paid for, their food paid for, their health care paid for. Half of them aren't citizens, and the rest are stealing the money. So for us to pay attention to exactly what's happening in the economy as we try to re-privatize the economy, you have to always, in my opinion, have that perspective of the kind of money that has been thrust in creating what is called inflation, but it's really just the destruction of buying power. And it's because the government allowed the floodgates to open for the money to be stolen from the American people.
Well, yeah, and COVID gave everybody cover. COVID gave everybody cover, and the government gave everybody $8 trillion. I mean, that's the bottom line. So, if we want to solve this problem, Shaun, we need to go back to 2019. Everybody take their budget. We take a picture of your budget in 2019. I'll let them adjust for inflation, even though that's kind of bull anyway. But we'll adjust for inflation up to 2026, and that's your new budget. Now take it or leave it, cry me a river. But because they will cry you a river, because the budget's expanded by 200 or 300%, and the population didn't expand at all. And so all of that money went to fraud, waste, and abuse. And the thing that really bothers me the most, it's wrong no matter who does it, but it's when people come over here as a guest in this country and they steal and then send it home to where they came from, which was an absolute, a horrible place. That really gets me.
Well, and then you look at what happens in the economic illiterate areas called Democrat cities and states and counties, and you see what they implement to not just prevent business from opening, but destroying the quality of life. You look at this Washington state, it's epic because it's an extremely fast collapse. 25% of the businesses gone. Another 20% are thinking about leaving. So you got half the businesses gone in the next 3 years. And you look at Chicago and you look at the Walgreens situation. Well, no kidding. And you listen to the people who are supposed to be representatives. They're supposed to be politicians, economic illiterate morons. And these are the same ones that celebrate why young kids can't get jobs. You had to simultaneously jack up the cost of entry-level jobs. You couldn't design an economic collapse better than the Democrats' economic policies, could you?
But they've never signed the front. They've never signed the back of the back. They only signed the back
front
of the check, not the front of the check, right? And that's the problem because listen, you hear that numbnuts that was talking about suing Walgreens because they're closing down in bad parts of the city. I mean, how about this? Stop stealing from them. All right, how about that? Stop. I mean, Walgreens wants to make money. They forget that Walgreens wants to make money, and if Walgreens can't make it, well, they're going to leave. And I know people that have physically left. I know a friend has physically already moved out of Washington because of that tax. And they're going to move out of Illinois. They're going to move out of Minneapolis because they're all doing this wealth tax now. That's socialism. And now you see Mamdani and Ken Griffin ratcheting up the rhetoric there. I hope that guy doesn't spend another dime in New York.
No. And you know what, Scott? This is truly, one of my favorite. I mean, come on. Ayn Rand, I absolutely love her. Always did. And the description of what happens when the abuse of freedom, the abuse of property rights. This is it. We are living through Atlas Shrugs. This is it right now. And it's kind of beautiful in the way, because for everything that's bad, and I just had Hochberg on, who I love to death, and, he's stuck in Illinois with but the reality is, for everything bad, this is exactly the opposite wherever the Democrats are not in charge. And that's the part to focus on. So if the job growth is terrible, odds are you're in a Democrat area, because if you go to one of the non-Democrat areas, everything is better. And to see it is when you travel and you just see the difference. When I was back in the old neighborhood, man, I couldn't believe it. I mean, you can't believe it. The only businesses are up there are the ones you avoid, the dope and the gambling and all the nonsense. And, you look at Chicago is fascinating and Illinois is fascinating. The ghetto games, $3 billion a year. That's the total take from the people who can afford it the less. And then you throw on lottery. If you go to the Chicago, the worst neighborhoods, the highest revenue from lottery sales. And then the pot dispensaries, $2.6 billion. You're talking about sucking $6.5 billion from bad neighborhoods. And the fix is what? I mean, that's just burning the money. You're burning it. It's a joke.
Throwing real estate tax, and these people have nothing left. I mean, we're taking advantage of those. But then they're the people that can't leave. That's right, because the people that can leave have the money, and they are leaving, Shaun. Trust me, I already gave you the stats about the 11 Southeast states. And that's going to happen more and more. And you're still right. You take a look at a badly run state, it's going to be Democratic, right? It's bottom line. If you can't get a job, it's going to be because it's a Democratic state. That's the problem. And people, I don't understand. I want to sit down with a Democrat and say, walk me through, because you know what? If you think that we can have no borders, you think we can have no cash bail, you think we want to get rid of ICE and get rid of police, that is absolutely insane. So I reserve the right to not listen to what you have to say about finance, because it's going to be insane too.
Well, you have the ability to sit down at the convenience to your own home now. Thank God. You watch these debates in California. You listen to these Democrat imbeciles. You listen to this Katie Porter. By the way, could soften a lumberyard, this dog. You look at the idiot in New York. You listen to the idiot in Illinois. I mean, you're having the conversation. And the problem in these areas like our own old one, Illinois, is the Republican version of what the opposition is. It's almost as stupid in the rebuttal of this imbecile running for governor. I mean, it's really at this level. I know that they had the fixed primary, but get them out of there if you want to save anything. There's no making somebody smarter when they're 50-something years old and they never worked a day in their life either. And you're trying to run on this same nonsense of the rent is too damn high party. It's ridiculous to watch.
Well, but that's what happened with Illinois, though, right? The Republicans would run on, we're going to balance the budget and rein in spending. And the Democrats would say, what do you want? I'm going to throw a free iPad, free iPhone. We'll give you some cash. Well, who are people going to vote for? That's the problem. The Republicans, you're right. I think I blame them as well. But they don't have a good plan either. That's the problem. But you have like Steve Hilton in California, he's got a good plan.
Oh, yes.
I mean, he's a Republican. So there is a possibility, but for some reason, the Republicans in the state of Illinois, they keep running on things that are not going to get them elected, like we're going to balance the budget and stop spending. I agree with all that, but it's not electable.
And the other optimistic tone that's happening around the country outside of these really legendary mafia-run areas is you see what happened in Indiana last night. You and I have talked about it. Donald Trump, whether he wants to talk about it or not, he is the new American party. End of story. The establishment, Mitt Romney and Brandon, or what's the guy name? I can't even think of the guy's name. Who's running for governor? I just said it. The guy running in Illinois. That party's over with. That step and fetch. We're just like them, only we're a little better. We're gonna be more economical. That's over. This party now. When you see these guys in Indiana win, and you see Steve Hilton, he can seriously win. And the other guy can seriously win. In fact, they can get to a point where it's two Republicans, and they're both great.
Yeah. I mean, there's a chance. So we I don't want to say we because I don't like Illinois. I haven't lived there, since 2014. But yes. Illinois has got to put up some people that have the Steve Hilton cojones because they just don't. And it's sad. And I'm telling you right now, listen to this. We're going to have more socialist mayors. We're going to have more wealth taxes. And wealth taxes is just stealing, folks. That's just another way to steal. But Illinois is considering one. Minnesota's considering one. They're doing it in New York. They're going to consider it in New Jersey. It's already passed in Washington. It's on the ballot in California. Folks, it's coming. They're going to do it, and they're going to be taking a percent of your wealth over a certain amount. And if you're only worried about billionaires and millionaires, at some point in time, they're going to get done soaking those people, and it's going to come to you, I promise.
Well, we have to also make the argument of what you're witnessing is the implementation of feudalism in Democrat areas. Yeah. This is feudalism. Yeah. And, I had on Hochberg before. We had a lady call from Arlington Heights. They now have this plan. Pritzker has this plan. He's going to nullify municipalities and take this building project and be able to export tenements under a different name. And you have to have X amount of percentage of vouchers where nobody pays rent, and they want to blend them into the neighborhood. And that's obviously not going to work. But what it does show you is that this can be used they're going to double down on stupid, as they always do. So what I'm more focused on is the 11 great states, number one, but my country first and foremost, right? Who's going to be, because the reality is Donald Trump, this is it, right? He's 80-something years old. Who's going to be the next Donald Trump? And I am telling you, the more I hear capitalists be proud of what they did, and you take a guy who made his money. Ken Griffin made his money. To my knowledge, he's not a kid from money. You look at some of these other guys that made their money. This is now the appetite for the new American party. We don't want these Darren Bailey moron suck-ons reciting parables. We want somebody who's done something and moved forward. I think we could be in a position where the next president may not be a career politician, and this could shock the whole world, couldn't it?
Yes, I agree, but we need to get this K-shaped economy where the upper 20% of incomes are enjoying most of the benefits of this inflationary cycle. We need to get the lower 80% involved because you know what? There's a lot of people that feel hard done by. They can't get on the housing ladder. A lot of them are young people too, right? And they're starting to vote socialist because they're getting free stuff. They've just kind of given up. We're losing a generation, so we have to appeal. So these wealthy people, as much as you and I think that's great that they've been able to bootstrap themselves, they hire people, they build big businesses, and they pay a lot of tax. A lot of people on that lower 80% of incomes are angry, and they're almost revolting against a higher stock market. I mean, I've heard people get angry that the stock market's going up because they haven't been able to participate. I mean, it's insane. But this is the world we live in today, so we need to bring those people up too because they've had a difficult time. They don't have 401ks. Trump tried to address that with its Trump accounts when it comes to retirement, and they haven't really had any real estate, and they need to be able to get on that real estate ladder, which has been very difficult. But we have a bifurcated economy, and it's fostering socialism on the lower end, and we're rewarding capitalism on the upper end, but there's way more socialists than capitalists. That's the problem.
Well, I think California is going to be the bellwether. It's going to be the determining issue because they haven't been strapped with the cancer of Democrat mafia as long as these other states that are really doubling down. I think this election is the biggest one, and it's right around the corner. So we may be able to see the trajectory of the nation. There goes California, right? I mean, because you look at Virginia, and I don't know if you saw what happened today. The state powerhouse, the Democrat woman named Louise something, she just had her offices raided. She's crooked as Grand Avenue. So
yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
They got that. So, the other fact of the matter is these kids, if it's explained properly by us, by your TV show, by my radio show, and all the people on this station, if it's explained properly, the kids, there is no choice. If you want to be a feudalist, if you want to, your whole goal is to live just as equal as you can tear down your neighbor, then you're a Democrat. If you want in on the scam, you're a Democrat. This is always the tale of America. And I think for the most part, the vast majority of us have always chosen the American free way. I really believe that. And the 11 states you taught me about, that's the greatest example. So if we have this bifurcation happening, good. We're in a cold civil war anyway now with these Democrats. They don't give a rip about what's legal or what's not. They're going to run it like a mafia town.
Yeah, I agree. And you know what? Good luck to Ken Griffin. Get all your money out of there. You know what he said, which was really interesting. In the 1950s, Detroit was better than New York. It had all the money, had all the capital, had all the nightlife, the plays, the shows. It was the place to be, and they didn't take care of it. Look at that. Look at Detroit now. He's like, New York doesn't always have to be New York. It can be a new Detroit because you don't take care of stuff and you keep running it with guys like Mamdani. He's like, I'm out of here, and I'm not going to invest in this place anymore. They're all going south. They're going to be part of those 11 states, and it's almost like those 11 states already own their own currency.
Now, here's what I witnessed with him in Illinois. He was swindled by a couple of morons in Illinois. They got his money and they told him they were going to do things. But he is more comfortable now. He's more articulate now. I'm telling you, this guy could be a game changer. And I think he should. I think he should consider it. I am Ken Griffin. I am the attack and the envy of the American communists, Marxists, and socialists. And if you want your kid to be Ken Griffin too, then vote for me. Because we are the country that innovated the world. We're the youngest and the richest because of the opportunities I took. I did it. I know how, and I'm going to make sure your kids do. That's what needs to happen.
Yeah, but instead you've got the mayor of New York standing outside your house saying, "I'm going to vilify this guy for the $238 million, mansion he's got upstairs." That's insane.
It is, but it's also the face of envy, right? It shows you. This is the beauty. Here's a 33-year-old kid living with his fracking mother last year. You're not a man. What the hell do you know about the economy? What do you know about anything? Listening to Brandon Johnson, what the frack do you know? And you have the complete opposite. And you take the greatest stories. Look at Elon Musk. Look at these guys. This is who I thought would rescue us when Obama was running. I really did. The Silicon Valley cowboys, right? They came from nothing. They had an idea. They were at the forefront. Instead, they folded in because they didn't want the government to take their stuff away. I'm telling you, between Bezos and these captains, if you want to take advantage of what made us who we are, then you cannot vote for a Democrat. They have to start talking about it the way it is. This is not a party of nuanced differences. This is a party of anti-Americanism. They are against everything that built us. If you want to go backwards, you vote for them. You want to go forward, you vote for us. And you steal their forward like Mao Zedong. What do you think? Oh, we could do this.
100% agree. That's exactly right. And you know what? Those people don't like their platform is they don't like America. They don't want borders. They don't want cops. They don't want police. They don't want cash bail. They don't want safety. They don't want America. They don't.
No. And one of the things before I let you go, because I know how busy you are, one of the things I want to talk about, I think it is insanely important to realize how many nations, how many countries have rerouted their oil tankers from the Middle East to America. And, these aren't fast-moving vessels. This is going to take
15 miles an hour. 15 miles an hour is what they go.
So this is going to take 2-3 months. And once they do that, and once they see the quality of our oil versus that garbage in the Middle East, once they see the safety of the Gulf of America versus that garbage in the Middle East, I'm telling you, I think this could change things where it'll snap overnight. Oil down to $40. We're the biggest and the baddest. Oil, natural gas. Game over. The Middle East, you guys go ahead. Go back to selling camels with 3 humps.
They're already building. They're already taking investors for building pipelines to reroute through the Straits of Hormuz. That's over. Yes, we're going to have. They're going 15 miles an hour to the Gulf of America. But I want you to watch any press conference where we have our Secretary of Energy, Christopher Wright, in the press conference. Well, everybody's kind of down, shaking their head. Oil prices are too high. He's like Heathcliff. He's got a Cheshire Cat grin at the back of the room because he knows he's killing it. He's absolutely killing it.
Yeah. I remember when Buddha and myself and a couple guys would walk into the Crazy Horse. I saw that smile on a couple of those girls we put through college. Scott, the cow guy, Shellady, thank you very much for always making time, brother. RFD TV, thank you very much. Say hello to the wife.
All righty.
We'll be back with your calls and comments.
He will never negotiate his constitutional rights with the government. Live free or die on The Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, AM 560 listeners, Jeff checking in again from JeffBuysYourHouse.com. What I learned serving our great nation in the military is that every mission is unique and success starts with listening. For nearly 20 years, our veteran-led house buying team has taken the time to understand what matters most to each homeowner we serve. Every home has a story.